but I'm interested to see what people bring. So you can see we already have Dragius and a Phoenix Dragon in hand, which will be useful later on. I'm also running copies of Torn of the Windweaver alongside the Tornado Draw skill to instantly search out wind attribute monsters whenever we need one. Alright, so we see the opponent is also playing some kind of aggro variant. Hopping into battle, and they are going to be able to take out my entire board here. There is actually an argument we could have made for summoning the Dragius, as you can see we had the Phoenix Dragon, so we could have recycled it even if they managed to beat over the monster. Let's go ahead and tribute summon out our Dragius here. And then the question is whether or not we use Recovery Force or hold on for later. I'm going to start with this. And I feel like ending on just a Dragius is pretty bad for us. However, it makes sense to me here because we don't want to end up drawing another tribute monster and then bricking on the next turn. We should be safe. Since we still have all of our life points available. So let's see what Necromancer brings out. We see a Summoned Skull, which is going to be able to crash into the Dragius. Welcome to the stream, Dragzen. Hope you're having a good day. And the Thunder, of course, weakening the Dragius so that Summoned Skull is able to beat over it. Let's see if that last monster is a 2 tribute. And it is a Yami Ruler. That is devastating. Now we aren't able to bring out our 2 tribute monsters here, so we just have to kind of pass turn awkwardly. There is a small chance we draw into a 7-zone Magician here, so let's see if we hit it. Of course we do not, so I think we just have to set our hand and hope that things go better on the next turn. It kind of is really unfortunate that we are losing to Thunder the Thunder here, as it's really our only way to deal with the opponent's board. Because of that, I think we actually just have to take some damage and keep 1 copy around to defeat whatever they bring out next. We do have 3 dragons in the graveyard as well, which means a Phantom Bind is pretty devastating. Looks like they bring out their own Torn of the Windweaver, taking a huge advantage of the lack of Banlist. Thunder the Thunder is going down, and I'm going to be taking a ton of damage. We see Necromancer even has at least 1 Phantom Bind set. So we'll see how this goes for us. Do we want our own Torna here? I think absolutely. Because this is what is going to get us able to actually compete. We need to use Thunder the Thunder for sure. So let's go ahead and start with that. Weakening the Yami Ruler. Then, Dragius. Oh, but I actually did this wrong. For sure. Dragius' effect activates, and then we Recovery Force to get an extra card. Return 3 spellcasters, and we'll see what we draw into. A Dark Sorcerer. Interesting, but probably not good enough. Instead of Thunder the Thunder, I probably should have just used Torna. I will go ahead and set the Torna, and then head into the battle phase. Beat over the opposing Torn of the Windweaver, and then 1, 2, and 3 dragons. I feel like we can't really afford not to trade though. However, this leaves us pretty vulnerable. So maybe keeping the Dragius as a defender was the better play. They bring out a Thunder the Thunder, and as you can see, they can kind of beat the Torna and then swing in with 2 monsters for game. Phoenix Dragon, but I don't think we've actually seen an opposing Dragius here. Oh, but here it is. Ultimately, they had Thunder the Thunder, so whatever they did, or whatever I did, wasn't going to matter. They had game this turn either way. That is a pretty strong start. Good game, Necromancer. That was a good one. I'm definitely up for a rematch, but first let's see if there was anyone else in the room. I'll go ahead and do a challenge with Dragzen. So with the no Banlist format, I think there are basically 3 major decks you can build. One is a dedicated Dragon Caster pile using 7-Zone Magician, and then your limited 3 cards are Torna, Phoenix Dragon, and Dragius. And then you have also the option to run a just complete aggro pile with Yami Ruler, Dragius, Phoenix Dragon, and Torna. Basically, you are cutting out the 7's Road engine to run Yami Ruler and just have the better tribute summons. Yami Ruler stat line, obviously incredible. And then the third option is a pure dragon, basically just running Dragonic Resonance, but now you get 3 Phoenix Dragon and Dragius. So any of those 3 decks could compete for best in the game. We see a Yami Ruler coming out to lock us, and welcome Necromancer and Sarah. Hope you are both having a good time. So we are actually seeing a dedicated Yami Ruler strategy, including even the non-des, to swap it to attack mode. I need to remember I am under the Yami Ruler lock, otherwise I will mess this up. But luckily, we actually draw incredible. Thanks to the 7's Road Witch, we are going to be able to bring out our 7's Road Magician and defeat Yami Ruler. Let's go with this, and then check attributes. We have Fire, Dark, and Wind. No additional access currently, so we're going to ditch the Phoenix Dragon and bring out 7's Road Magician, followed by Dark Sorcerer, and then we are keeping the Curry Bot in hand for later. 500 life points to make easy tribute summons on the next turn is absolutely worth it. And Necromancer, same. I do not have a 3 Phoenix Dragon either. So 7's Road Magician beats Yami Ruler, then we clear non-des and get in for a big swing. I am doing pretty well today, Sarah. Trying to think, I haven't actually done all too much, but I have some lunch/dinner plans after this, which I'm looking forward to. And I've been excited to try out the No Banlist Duel Room. Basically, since the game came out, I tried to get some friends to do it with me, but they were too afraid of the Dragius Yami Ruler deck. Let's see what Dragzen is putting up. We see Umengumi, so this might be a Dark Arts of Celerity deck. So 7's Road Magician is going down, but they're going to need another card if they want to beat 7's Road Witch. And they end on a single level 6 monster. There is no way we do not punish that. We find a Mystic Dealer, but we don't even need to use it. I'm not going to waste any time here. No BM in this duel. Let's just activate the Dragius and swing for game. That's 1 and 2. Alright, so I'm now 1-1. And if no one else has joined the room yet, I'll go ahead and do a rematch with Necromancer. I'll try this deck out one more time in the rematch. And then I might switch up to the aggro one. Went ahead and sent the challenge. And then... yeah, Dragzen, you must have drawn pretty terribly that last round. Oh, and welcome, GGGQ. I will definitely duel you next. And I'll duel you with this deck as well. I want to give everyone a chance to play against the unlimited dragon casters before I go over to unlimited aggro. Oh, did something not work here? Let's try that one more time. I don't know why it didn't load in the duel initially. Well, hopefully, this will get you back into Rush a little bit right before the Roa release. I think we are going to be getting those box leaks soon, I hope. But I'm really just hoping to see Beast Gear World more so than even the Roa cards. It's a shame that Ushio is not a playable character. So being able to use hopefully like an archive skill or something is going to be big. Alright, so game 2 against Necromancer, and we see the immediate Torn of the Windweaver. Will they choose the right target? I notice a lot of people do go for the middle card, but we get a Dark Sorcerer and we're good. Oh no! Necromancer discarding a Yami Ruler and keeping 2 more cards in a hand. We definitely know what that means. They are completely stuck on 2 tribute monsters. Let's go ahead and activate Multi-Strike Dragon Dragius. Mystic Dealer. We are looking for another high attack monster, so we can ditch this Mystic Dealer. Oh, and that is incredible. Seven Sword Witch might be the single best card we could have drawn there. Let's go ahead and activate the effect, discarding Phoenix Dragon for the Seven's Road Magician. Don't know what happened to the music. Oh, and it is back. Activate Seven's Road Magician's effect, and that should be game. A turn 3 victory. I am sorry, Necromancer. That is such an unfortunate opening hand. But next up, I have a match with GGGQ, so let's go with that one. Oh, I see they aren't in a table, but assuming they are still around, I will give them a second. Yeah, no problem. When you say 1 second, should I go ahead and do another game, or is it going to be real quick? Oh yeah, and Dragzen and Necromancer, feel free to hop into your own battle against each other. We have 4 people, so that is enough to get 2 games going at once. Alright, so good luck. Let's see what you've brought. Rookie rank 1. Okay, so you weren't... Wait, does it show the rush rank? Or is rookie the speed duel rank? Alright, Seven's Road Rush On. Though, okay, so we see adding the Seven's Road Magician and Torna. But without level 6 or higher effect monsters, I am going to feel a little bad if this ends up being a bit of a one-sided battle. Oh, we see the Lamoon coming out, and a Lesser Dragon. Crawling Dragon, and let's see, what do I have? 2 Recovery Force, seems like a pretty bad opening hand, a recipe for bricking, but we do have the Seven Sword Witch, so all we need is one low-level monster to get going. So we summon out Seven Sword Magician, and we are ready to overcome the more threatening monsters on this board. Or actually, let's push for extra damage. Welcome, Heather. Hope you're having a good day. Feel free to join into the duel room if you want. And if anyone needs help learning how to turn off the ban list in the deck editor, let me know and I can help you out. It should be a simple toggle somewhere in the options menu. Alright, so we see an Ansler. That is going to be able to out the Seven's Road Witch, though we still don't see anything capable of defeating Seven's Road Magician. Hydro Magician coming out as well, but also not quite good enough. Without drawing the Torna or the Seven's Road Magician, unfortunately it's just a bit difficult for them to overcome this. Let's go ahead, Thunder the Thunder, discard a monster, and weaken the Crawling Dragon. Then Currybot comes on down. Torna the Windweaver is up next. We're going to use that to switch Ansler to defense mode. And then Seven's Road Magician for that big damage. And this should clear the board. Almost did the attacks in the wrong order and was not going to be able to out that Hydro Magician, but I recalculated at the last moment. Focusing on speed duels. Yeah, Legend sounds like a big pain to get through. Once you can D-rank, I find ranked becomes a lot more stressful. Like, already the gold 5, needing to win 5 in a row, kind of stresses me out, and I can't imagine sliding down ranks would make me feel any better. I hope you manage to hit whatever rank you are aiming for, though. Welcome, Shiny Lou. How are you doing today? Alright, so we see a Sky Dragon coming on out. Oh, and a Dragius is going to spell the end of the game. Let's go ahead and activate that. Double Doom effect. And then Seven's Roads, Elemental Road. And just in case, we bring this out, but I don't think we even need it. Seven's Road Magician ends the game. If the match between Necromancer and Dragzen has finished, I'll do another round against Dragzen. Thank you for the game, GGGQ. And I've done a couple of rounds with this one, so let's go ahead and swap decks. Let's bring in the Gavin deck here, which is just a full steam ahead aggro pile. I could actually be running the Phoenix Dragons as well. I didn't think about that. Let me go ahead and add those in, because recycling a Dragius is obviously a great thing to be doing. We will remove probably some Dark Sorcerers, since those are the ones Dark Sorcerers could affect Torna, whereas the other 1500 attackers are unrelated to the other types. Alright, so Dragzen, to get the unlimited stuff removed, you can go to the cog on the home page, then you go to settings, dual settings, and then and then so under general there is an allow saving unlimited decks option. Alright, thank you for coming out, Necromancer. I hope you enjoyed the duels. And you got to not open 3 Yami Ruler and a low level. For sure. Hopefully, if we do it again, your hands will be a little bit better. Heather, on the plus side, we do still have half the month to go. So I think you are going to be able to do it. You've got plenty of time to climb up those final legend ranks. So Dragzen, hopefully you're able to find the toggle to let you make the unlimited list decks. I'll head back into the room, and I think GGGQ wanted to play another round. So while you're setting up your deck, I'll go ahead and play a game against them. And of course, anyone else who wants to join, the room ID is right above my head. So feel free to hop on in, and we will play some rush duels together. Unfortunately, I am not much of a speed duel player. I have a really budget Lunalight deck that I kind of regret investing in now because we have that new box that would have let me do it for much cheaper. And it would have given me Tenki and other good cards that I don't currently own. But I know Tenyi is a good deck. The best I can do for advice is just saying to go ahead and check lists compared to stuff that would be on Duel Links meta, etc. Probably stuff you're already aware of. So we have the turn 1 Yami Ruler. So this is going to prevent GGGQ from summoning any big monsters. Then we also have the Torna in hand, which means if they are forced to set 3, I'm going to be able to swap one of them right back into attack mode and make an aggressive push. Yami Ruler and Torna being on the limited list together makes a lot of sense, as this is a pretty devastating combo. We see a tribute set over on the left side. I need to not forget that by the end of the game. We see a concert performer, and that is going to be able to beat my Kanan. So I have some of the Arrow Mage cards, but ultimately I didn't think they were going to be better than Lunalight, so I didn't see a reason to really invest in whatever box they have, or spend all the time at the card trader figuring things out. So we drew a Seahorse Carrier, which is perfect for getting out a bunch of powerful monsters. We will keep the other Seahorse Carrier around for next turn, but let's go ahead and bring in Torna, and then actually I will end up discarding the Seahorse Carrier after all. Bring up the Tributed Monster, just to see what it is, change to attack mode, and let's battle. Dragius can attack twice this turn, so we're going to have it take out both of those monsters. The monster in the middle is not tribute set, so Torna is going to be perfectly capable of handling it. And Yami Ruler gets in for a big hit. End turn, and let's see what they bring out next. Given the 7's XL Wonder Splat, this might be a 7's Axel Road deck. Alright, so we see Ayla Moon, and since it is an attack position, I'm expecting to see a big 7-Zord Magician or other tribute monster coming out this turn. And they bring in a Max Raider. That, unfortunately, is not big enough to defeat my Dragius or my Yami Ruler. So that is probably going to end up being game. Torna goes down, but I don't even need to play any more cards. Let's just head right into the battle phase and attack with Dragius and then Yami Ruler. Thank you for the game, GGGQ. So, Dragzen, how is your deck coming together? Are you ready for another round? Oh, looks like Dragzen is right here in the room and ready to go. Perfect. And we see a Luke deck. So this is probably going to be, well, actually, it could be any of them. This could be the pure unlimited dragon power, or it could just be any kind of aggro deck too. My opening hand is not perfect, and I lied. My opening hand is actually insane. This is the best possible 5 cards anyone could hope to draw. I'm going to bring out the turn 1 Dragius, because it is a safe play here. We have a Seahorse Carrier, activating the effect, going to recycle a Aqua, and then we get a second level 7 monster out on turn 1. But, and this is the important part, Yami Ruler is going to lock Dragzen out of doing the same thing. Activate the effect, and now Dragzen cannot bring out any big monsters of their own, and I have 2 2500 stat walls. Welcome, Tyler. So I think if you're only interested in rush duels, that's actually preferable, because Duel Links runs on gems, so you're not going to be able to afford to play both formats as a free-to-play player, but rush duels only have the one box, making it actually really nice. So I absolutely suggest getting into Duel Links if your primary goal is to play Rush Duel. That said, I would still suggest you to do just a little bit of Speed Duel content, because you can get a ton of gems for free. You don't need to play any PvP, but just the starter free cards are enough to level up your account and get a bunch of free materials, which you can then spend on rush duels. So we now have a field full of limited monsters. Oh, and we actually see a Phantom Bind is set, but that is not going to make a huge difference. This should be game with 2 Dragiuses getting in directly. And as you can see, we went through 2 Dragius, a Yami Ruler, and a Torna. That is already 4 different Limit 3 cards, showing the power of the ban list. I am down for another round. Let me bring out my my no ban list dragon deck. I only have 2 Phoenix Dragons, but this is going to be a Dragonic Resonance, making use of the full 3 copies of Dragius. It might actually not be optimal, because Dragius doesn't actually work with the skill. But having 3 Dragius and 2 Phoenix Dragon is still really powerful on its own. We have all of the Bunker Strikes and a couple of Gravity Press Dragons to trigger the effect. Alright, GGGQ is making a new deck, so if anyone else wants to hop on in, feel free. Oh, and I see Dragzen is ready to play. We have the Luke Mirror Match. I'm up second, so let's see what we draw and what Dragzen puts out. If we get the same amount of insane Dragius plays as last time, it could be bad for Dragzen's lifespan. But our hand, now we don't have access to the Seahorse Carrier engine, so it is going to be a little bit harder to get those double level 7 boards, especially on turn 1. I don't think there's any way we can. Especially since we don't even have any Sports Dragons in hand. We draw a card, and we do actually find 1 Sports Dragon, which is a good start. Let's go ahead and set a couple of monsters, and then we will Bunker Strike to set us up for the future. We are looking for basically just another Sports Dragon, maybe. And we do actually find it. Okay, so we need to return cards to the top of the deck because we like these. So, 1, 2, 3, set a card, and then we can battle, just take out one of the monsters, and pass turn. This is a pretty passive turn 1 from us, so we are open to a pretty big counterattack. Let's see if Dragzen has the Dragius and other cards to punish us. We do have one Sports Dragon set up in the graveyard, which is a good start for us. We also have our Dragonic Pressure set, but unfortunately, Dragzen does have the Dragonic Slayer, meaning that my spell card is getting popped. And I am going to take a ton of damage in the process too. However, all is not lost, as I know my hand is going to be fantastic next turn. Not only do we have a Dragius coming, but we have the other Sports Dragon and a Triad Drago. So even without Dragonic Pressure, we should be able to safely clear this entire board. We are going to have, hopefully, a 7-card hand to work with, if we are able to sequence everything right. We do take a ton of damage, but Dragzen does not have their own Dragonic Pressure, so we should be okay. Let's bring out Sports Dragon Pitcher, use the effect to revive Sports Dragon Slugger. Then we do a Triad Drago, and then Gravity Press Dragon, getting rid of our other level 3 monster. This means Triad Drago is now able to draw us the card that we're looking for, and we can bring out Dragius as well. Tribute off 2 monsters, and then we have our own Twin Edge Dragon for a big push. Activate the skill, increasing the level of our monsters. And now Twin Edge Dragon is high enough level so it can attack, meaning it can activate the effect. Then we do Dragius' effect, and we proceed to the battle phase. Twin Edge Dragon takes out the opposing Twin Edge Dragon. Dragius clears the rest of the board, and then we deal 3,500, bringing Dragzen down to the incredibly low 800 life points. However, this may very well have been the wrong play. As you can see, an opposing Dragius instantly ends the game. We have exactly 2,500 life, and Dragius is able to hit for 1,500 on Twin Edge and 1,000 on Gravity Press. As long as Dragzen does not brick here, we are probably going to lose despite the huge push we made. We see 2 low-level monsters in attack mode, a surefire sign that a 2-tribute monster is coming out. Bunker Strike, already capable of dealing 1,800 damage to our life points. And with 3 extra draws, Dragzen is probably going to be able to find whatever it is they are digging for. We will just have to wait and see what they bring out. If we do actually survive this turn, we do almost definitely win the game, but it seems a bit unlikely to me. All we can do is sit and wait, and hopefully enjoy the music as well. Dragzen appears to be thinking maybe they weren't able to find what they were looking for. Oh, but I just noticed this is a prismatic Gravity Press Dragon. That is a pretty lucky pull. I'm a little bit jealous. And speaking of Gravity Press Dragons, there we go. We may actually, we might actually survive this, just barely. I'm not sure if you're asking how much do we enjoy the format, or if it's supposed to be like, wow, this format is terrible, how could you possibly enjoy it? But overall, I am a pretty big fan of rush duels just in general. So that definitely influences my opinions on it. Personally, this is our first time experimenting with the no Banlist version. So that's one way to keep a format enjoyable. If you ever find things getting stale, it's just switching things up, finding new cards to play, and new forms to play them in. Other than that, I would say overall I like this format quite a bit. Because there seems to be, despite the prevalence of Dragius in so many decks, there has been a pretty evolving meta over the course of the first month of the game. And there are several different viable things you can be playing. Thank you for the game, Dragzen. Oh, and it seems there's a new member in the room. I don't know who it was. Let's double check. Oh, Shiny Lou. Shiny Lou, if you want to play, feel free to sit at a table. And I will duel you right after this game with GGGQ. Yeah, so the deck building, like you said, is a huge part of the format. I want to say, even at King of Games, people are making bad deck decisions in a lot of games. For example, I'll see Dragon players running way too many spell cards. Stuff like Phantom Bind and Dragonic Pressure are both fine cards individually, but if you're running 3 copies of both of them, it does not end well. There's also always the emerging metagame of how popular is Phantom Bind. So Dragonic Slayer here is just strictly worse than Bunker Strike most of the time. But I found this season a lot of people had started playing Phantom Bind, so playing more copies of Dragonic Slayer ended up being the right choice. Inside the duels themselves, there are also things people are doing incorrectly, usually with it being too aggressive. For example, in the last game, I made a big push, and I ended up winning last game, but I shouldn't have. I was too aggressive, and instead of making my big 5-attack turn, what I should have been doing was setting monsters to not die, leaving a 1000 attack Twin-Edged Dragon for the opponent to beat over for game is almost always going to be the wrong decision. In this case, though, I do of course have all of my life points, so bringing out the 3-attack mode monsters is correct. Let's go ahead and activate Dragonic Resonance, and I think this might be game. Dragius mills and can now attack twice, beating over Max Raider, and then finishing things off with 3 direct attacks. Thank you for the game, GGGQ. Alright, and I see Shiny Lou is ready to go. So I'll play around with the Dragon deck, and then I will switch back to Dragon Quest. Back to Dragon Caster. Yeah, GGQ, I don't think you're making a ton of like misplays or anything. It's just very clear you're using starter decks. So I don't think you're bad at the game at all. I'm guessing you haven't spent very many gems on the box. Alright, so let's see what Shiny Lou has brought. We see a Roman, which is pretty rare. But mostly just because they don't have any cards on the limited 3 list. Our opening hand is not perfect, but it gets us a Dragius, which, I mean, is fine enough. Pit Viper, yes. I actually have decked my opponent out and be on the receiving end of it. I have decked out and I have decked out opponents. A lot of times, it's going to boil down to one player being on some sort of Dion Keto deck or Yami Ruler deck. Basically, you can enter situations where you never want to switch a Yami Ruler out of defense mode, and the games just kind of stall for a while. Also, if you're not playing a meta deck, let's say you don't have a Dragius in hand, or, I'm sorry, if you're not running Dragius or Torna, it can become really difficult to actually deal with the opponent setting 3 monsters every turn. So a deck that doesn't have a ton of offensive pressure, like a budget Diabolic King Beetle list, might be forced to just set 3 monsters for like 6 turns in a row and then deck out. So we see a 7-zone Magician and a Prima Guitarna. Quite a powerful board. And since Shiny Lu is at maximum life points, we definitely are not on the road to claiming a surprise comeback victory. 1,000 for the Rock and Refrain might actually be a bit of a misplay. They pay 1,000 life points, but only gain 600. I do survive, but we'll see if it ends up making a difference. Okay, our hand includes both Sports Dragon monsters. However, we don't draw a single high level. That said, I do still want 2 Dragonic Pressure here. And we will ditch these 3 monsters to bring back a Triad Drago. We aren't going to get in for game, but we are going to deal a ton of damage. But again, remember, I only have 2,400 life. This is probably not the correct play. Personally, I think I probably should have played the Dragorite, but then set the Winged Dragon. Because now, if a 7-zone Magician gets to 3,900, I just lose outright. Or a Dragius is going to deal a devastating amount of damage. But we will see if Shiny Lu manages to draw the high-level monsters that they need to win. Magician Shuffle means I am about to get smacked down by 2,500 attack Dark Magician Girls. I definitely was not expecting a Magician Shuffle based on the other cards I had seen. Taken by surprise, and here comes Seahorse Carrier, ready to attack. Another card goes face down, and we know they have at least 1 Dark Magician Girl. 2,500 is dealing 1,000, and if they have a second Dark Magician Girl or a 2-repeat monster, no, I get lucky once again and manage to survive on a turn I really shouldn't have. Alright, so we do have our Dragonic Resonance available to us this turn, but more importantly, we can Phoenix Dragon here and get back our Dragius. Let's ditch 1 card for Dragius, for sure. Then do a Tribute. Then Winged Dragon comes out, and Dragonic Slayer is up next. Since we have 2 level 7 monsters, we are going to be able to destroy the card Shiny Lu set previously. I don't remember any hourglasses going off, so if one of them is Phantom Bind, it's more likely to be that one. However, it was just a Pierce. We summon out the Dragorite, and after the Dragonic Resonance, we should hopefully be able to push for game. Let's make sure we don't forget to use the effect of our Multi-Strike Dragon Dragius and proceed into the battle phase. If this is a Phantom Bind, It does end up changing things, but we successfully navigate through the defense position monsters, and Dragorite is going to be able to get in for game. Thank you for the game, Shiny Lou. If you want to play again, I will switch up my deck and absolutely queue in again. Since I've only played against you once, but I've played against everyone else in the lobby a few times, I think it makes sense to play you twice in a row. Alright, so we are going to set the... Actually, I'm going to go with Dragon Caster. So I'm setting up this deck, and I will hop right back into the lobby. Oh, and I see Shiny Lou has left the table. Are you also switching the deck? Ba-ba-ba-da-bum, ba-ba-ba-da-bum. And as always, anyone who wants to join is... Oh, I see Dragzen has queued up, so might as well go ahead and do it. Alright, so another round against Dragzen. Let's see how it goes. My opening hand is definitely not ideal. Tyler, there are currently not any maximum monsters. We're expecting to get Roa in just a couple of days. And then Neil will probably be joining in January, is our best guess. So we're expecting maximums to come as part of like a New Year's celebration. And of course, Nail will come with Yggdrago, and then probably Asana will be the monster we get after that, or the character. So probably gonna get Yggdrago and then Worm Excavator as our first few maximums, alongside maybe Overload. Let's see. Who do I want to discard? Probably just the other Torna. Unfortunately, our opening hand is not great. If Dragzen pulls out a big monster, we are in a ton of danger here. I will pass turn with a lone Torna the Windweaver. And we will see if we are able to keep our board alive. A single Dragius alone is dealing nearly 3,000 damage, so combine that with two 1,500 monsters on the side, and it is going to be so over. And of course, I left them with 2 monsters on board, so it is also possible they bring out multiple level 7 monsters to really devastate my life points here. We see them discarding a Torna. Torna isn't out to my own Torna, so it does imply they have a card like this Dragius ready to go and attack. Setting a 1 card face down. Definitely want to make sure I play around Phantom Bind if I am able to. Next up is Gazelle for 1,500 and another 25. Alright, here at 1,100, things are looking suboptimal. I do not have any curry bots to use the effect, so we definitely need to set 2. Bring out the 7-Zone Magician. We'll go ahead and activate the effect. And then we need some defense stat. Let's shuffle some monsters back into the deck, presumably focusing on the low-level monsters, as that is going to be how we wall ourselves up. But we don't draw one. This is incredibly dangerous. We needed a low-level monster to keep our life points safe. All we can do is pass turn, and Dragzen, with 2 cards left in hand, almost certainly is going to find the high-level monster they need to win this game on the spot. Alright, Recovery Force for that extra card. Though I doubt they actually needed it. Let's see, Seahorse Carrier recycling a low-level monster. Kanan, or Grace Business Kana back into the hand. And presumably going to summon it out for the tribute out, but we see a Torn of the Windweaver, capable of switching 7-Sword Magician to defense mode, which is actually good enough. Without any 2 tribute monsters, Jackson can still win using the power of low-level attacks. With only 1,100 life points remaining, even a low-level monster is able to get in for a game. We see a card get set face down, and Kanan the Sword Diva coming on out. Another Recovery Force must be really digging for a 2 tribute monster. We did see a Torna and a Witch, so it's possible that the 2 cards Dragzen was keeping in hand were 2 1 tribute monsters. Personally, if I was in that situation, I probably would have tributed at least one of them on the previous turn just to draw more cards. And without a misplay, Doriato goes down, and I wasn't able to find the monster I needed to protect myself. Good game, Dragzen. Looks like Shiny Lou is ready for the next round, so I will go ahead and send the challenge. Alright, and we are getting into our next game. Last time, Shiny Lou was using a Magician Shuffle deck, and we see still on a Roman. So let's find out if the deck has changed or not. Alright, I am up first, but this hand is looking quite bad. I think I need to Mystic Dealer and toss one of my 7-Road Magicians to unbrick myself. We see another Mystic Dealer, but this time I think just setting some monsters is actually a pretty reasonable plan. Since we have 2 level 7 monsters in hand, I am going to bring out the Dragius. And my thought process here is, if Shiny Lou is on a Magician Shuffle deck, their boss monsters are fairly likely to need to crash into Dragius rather than being able to beat over them on their own. I see 3 spells and traps, which is quite interesting. I wonder what the deck composition looks like. There are not all that many decks that even run 3 spell and traps at all. But we do have a plan here. Torna is going to be switching that monster into attack mode for me. And then Torna has done its job, so I am going to tribute it off for 7-Sword Witch. And then a Witch is going to be able to use its own effect, discarding Recovery Force and giving me a big field of incredibly powerful monsters. Dragius will activate the effect to attack twice, and then with 7-Sword Magician buffing itself to 3,300, this could very well be game. Even with 3 face-down cards, none of them were Phantom Bind. So that is going to do it. I'm sorry, Shiny Lou. Drawing that many spells and traps must have been pretty bad. If you want to give it another round, I am definitely up for it. I will send another challenge. Oh, but it seems it went away. Looks like GGGQ and Dragzen are playing a game. So I'm definitely up for another one, Shiny Lou. Welcome, James. Thank you for the follow. Feel free to join on in to the duel room if you would like to play. I only have 3. Oh, so you drew all 3 Pierce. That is unfortunate. Hopefully the next round will go better. I'm just finally listening to the background music since we have a bit of a break in between games, and this song's kind of weird. I just threw on a playlist. Oh. I will join once I get this new Lunalight skill from the event. Yeah, go for it. I need to do the event myself. I think I am still missing the SR that is able to search the polymerization. I don't have any copies of it yet. And I definitely want to add it in because Lunalight is the deck I play in ranked. I'm probably not going to go into the new box because my gems are almost exclusively for rush duels. But the new free cards are still useful, for sure. Without Tenki, my ratios are going to be a little weird. But I think I can get at least a little bit, I'll be able to get hopefully up to like gold or platinum with the Lunalights. Let's see if anyone else is in the room. Not yet. Hopefully the match between GGGQ and Dragson are going well. Other than these, I've recently been playing a little bit of, taking out 2 copies of Seven Zone Magician is pretty good. Nice work, GGGQ. Especially with the starter deck, or a modified version of it, you're doing pretty well. So apart from Yu-Gi-Oh, lately I've been playing the demo for the new Dragon Quest game. I'm thinking I'd like to do a little bit of speedrunning for it when the game comes out. The actual game launches on December 1st, so we have a couple of weeks, but if I end up deciding to do it, I will probably end up streaming a couple of attempts. I've been mapping out a little route for synthesizing monsters and clearing all the stuff that is in the demo. It's a pretty interesting little category. So I need to go see if I'm able to make it on speedrun.com and kind of get things set up so I can submit times. And if I do that, I'll definitely be streaming a couple of Dragon Quest runs at some point. So we see a Summon Skull, and the Pierce that haunted Shiny Lu in the previous game is now going to get insane value. I take nearly the full 2,500. My hand is an interesting one. I probably do want to Mystic Dealer. I'll toss the other Mystic Dealer, see what I draw into, and that is an incredible card. Thunder the Thunder, tribute it off for Dragius here. And now we kind of have to decide what we're doing with the rest of our hand. I think the best play is to bring out the Torna and switch the Summon Skull to defense mode. There are definitely other options that could have been considered here, but I am fine with this. We get to deal 2,500, and we are going to safely take out everything that they have on the board. Dragius swings in. And what are these card sleeves? I actually can't see them too well, but they looked pretty cute. I will pass turn, and I am kind of low on life, but I should be high enough that I don't die. Even a 7-zone magician isn't able to beat the Dark Sorcerer and Lethal Me. But with a Curry bot, things become a lot more threatening. A Dragius plus 7-zone magician board, or even worse, a Dragius plus Gitarna board, it would be incredible. We see the Prima Gitarna already. So now if a Dragius comes out and gains that 900 attack boost and can attack twice, that might be game. I haven't done the math, but okay. It looks like Shiny Lou did not find a second level 7. That said, I am still going to lose my Dragius and my Torna. Based on our experience in the last couple of games, presumably that face down card is just a Pierce, so I don't have to worry too much about Phantom Bind. We are going to Recovery Force, and we're bringing in Mystic Dealer, but more importantly, high level monsters. As you can see, we didn't draw any, so that is what we are digging for. We know Shiny Lou is running a bunch of Pierce, so we can't just set and hope for the best. We need to find actual answers. So let's go ahead and start with a Mystic Dealer. This will get another Spellcaster into the graveyard, but we do not find it. And we only have 2 in the grave. So what we need to do next is play Thunder the Thunder and discard that Doriado. This has the ability to weaken Prima Gitarna, but what we are actually after is a second copy of Recovery Force. Now, we must draw a high-level monster or we lose. Let's see it. Unfortunately, it is a Mystic Dealer. So that is going to be game and set. We played to the best of our ability to try to out the potential Pierce. But we weren't able to find it with, we had like 6 draws. So thinking about it, I did misplay. And that's what I mean. I think Rush does actually have real decision points. If you remember, I used Torna instead of Thunder the Thunder. And that meant I didn't have any 7-zone Magician in my hand because I discarded it with the Torna. If I had used Thunder the Thunder and discarded Torna, I could have kept the level 7 monster for a later turn. And then I would have been able to out that Prima Gitarna and probably won the game. We see Prima Gitarna and Dragius coming in for the lethal. Of course, Shiny Lou reveals it was indeed a Pierce face down. So we take that loss, but that was a pretty good duel. I'm gonna swap to the pure aggro list next up, and then I will fight Shiny Lou again if they would like. So deck has been swapped. And then whoever wants to play, I'm just gonna sit at table 1 and I'll fight against whoever. Oh, looks like Dragzen is up first. Alright, up against a Mimi deck. Let's see what we have in store. Mimi has plenty of good skills. There's the Cure Master, I think is the most popular. But lately, I think Set Party 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 might be pretty strong. It's able to give you that 29 card deck, similar to the way that players run Hammer Crush Deal. Except it can heal you for 1200, which is even more than Cure Master does. And if you do end up drawing Party 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 before you're able to set it, it can provide up to 2400. And that is a ton of life points to be given off of just one card. We see a turn 1 Dragius, which is pretty interesting. Must have had a somewhat awkward hand. We draw 2 Seahorse Carrier, but Unfortunately, we do not have we don't have any light aquas that we can recur with it. So if we want to out this board, what we need to do is use Torn the Windweaver to switch Dragius to defense, and then we bring out our own Dragius as well. There's actually a good case that I should have played the Gazelle in attack mode and then just left the Dragius in hand, because then we'd have 2 monsters on the board to protect us instead of just 1. And we would have kept Dragius. So once again, I have made a misplay. There is a lot of room for error, even in what seems like a simple format. We see 2 attack position monsters and 3 attack position monsters. Definitely seeing a tribute summon up next. I am dropping a ton of frames here, so I apologize if the stream begins to lag. But yeah, as you can see, having a 1600 and a 1500 would have stopped this Gazelle from getting in directly. They would have had to trade. So that misplay is costing me the game. We gain a little bit of life points, but it's probably not going to be enough. Let's bring out Gazelle and Yami Ruler. We don't want to use the effect, as 7-Zone Magician is able to just clear it no problem. And we do want to just take out the 7-Zone Magician and the Kanan. Now our win condition is basically hoping that Dragzen does not find any high-level monsters. And yeah, Shiny Lou points out Boogie Master Draw also sees some play. It is definitely a little bit less popular than skills like Cure Master, but it is something you should be prepared for if you're playing on the ladder. Alright, so Recovery Force, cycling in some high-level monsters, which means Dragzen may not have found one. Oh, but with a Seahorse Carrier, all doubts are eliminated. I am about to get absolutely destroyed, all because I made my misplay. So we see the low level returning, and oddly, I could have sworn Mimi would have had a voice line for this card. If it's in the level up rewards, they absolutely should have given it voice the lines. Another 7-Zone Magician coming out for big damage. Let's see what Dragzen plays next. I think with the board as it stands, I actually do survive with just a tiny bit of life points remaining. So in order to win here, I'm going to need some pretty ridiculous draws. Probably the 3rd Seahorse Carrier, plus another level 7, and more low levels. So I can't actually even use the Curry Bot. I could bring out Dragius, and I think I need to. You could argue for Summon Skull, but I don't think it makes a difference. Yeah, and unfortunately there is the other low level I would have liked to have drawn. If we replaced the Dragius with a low level, I would have had 2 2500 attack monsters on board, which would have offered a little bit more defense, especially since a 7-Zone Magician is in the graveyard, and so is a Torna. But now, Dragzen almost certainly has gain here. We see the recycling. And Torna is going to be able to swap Dragius into defense mode. Now, all that Dragzen needs is any monster with 300 or more attack, and they'll be able to finish off this game. Gazelle and Kanan work wonderfully. That That was a good game. You definitely deserve the win. You played that much better than I did. Alright, I see Shiny Lou is queued up, so I'll go ahead and play another round with them. And then I see GGGQ has also been waiting for a while. So, after the match with Shiny Lou, I'll play another round with GGGQ. Alright, so we have another Mimi. So that means Shiny Lou has gone ahead and switched up the deck. We know they were on Roman during the first few games. Oh, and that Charmer playmat looks great. I wonder why it is facing me, though. I feel like it should be rotated. Alright, opening hand. It all comes down to whether or not I draw one of my 6 light aqua monsters. So 6 out of 26, that's 3 out of 13. A little bit less than a 25% chance for me to get the card I am looking for. But if I do draw it, that's basically game on the spot. Unfortunately, we do not. So Currybot and Seahorse Carrier are going to go down, and I'll bring out the Yami Ruler. I think being able to brick level 7s for an extra turn is worth more than bringing out the Dragius to clear the board. As long as this plan works out, next turn I'm going to have 2 high-level monsters on the board, nearly guaranteed. It would be basically impossible for me to draw 4 high-level monsters and not be able to summon this Dragius. We see Shiny Lou sets a monster and passes, just as we planned. And now we are able to go in. Seahorse Carrier comes out, and then we bring out a Dragius. We bring out, oh, well, first let's use Dragius' effect. Melvatorna, Dark Sorcerer is up next, and that was actually a misplay. So I'll keep it like this. I was considering bringing out a second Dragius, but I don't think we need it. This is a more conservative play, and it works just as well. Luckily, those monsters have 0 defense, so the Phantom Bind is not going to make a big difference. If I had run into a Grace Princess Kana, Shiny Lou would have been able to force me to brick onto the 1400 and not deal any damage. So had I played it the way I was going to, I would have been able to deal an extra 2500. Which would have put Shiny Lou unable to use any cards like Prima Gatarna. However, this works just as well, as this play keeps a level 7 in my hand, and as you can tell from the last couple of games, I have been overextending quite a bit. We see a tribute summon of their own Dragius, but I have 2 2500 attack point monsters of my own, so unless a Prima Gatarna comes out, I am safe. And it is a Dion Keto, the Boogie Master. Shiny Lou probably just goes and sets the remaining monster, unless they decide to heal it. I guess either way works pretty well. Alright, so an extra 1000 brings Shiny Lou up to 4k. But the question is, do you attack? We see Dragius inflicting the 1000 points of damage to me. And we do see a trade because the Dragius is more threatening. That seems reasonable to hedge against me drawing any Thunder the Thunders. However, do we have any warrior monsters in the graveyard? We do not. And that means we are going to be able to get in for big damage. First up is the Dragius, and then Gazelle. Enter the battle phase, and Yami Ruler crashes, and we avoid Phantom Bind, losing us the game. Though Shiny Lou is able to hold on, as I was attempting to deal exact lethal. With just 100 life points, will they be able to make a comeback? Anime moment. and Boogie Master draw, guaranteeing a Dion Keto and a Seahorse Carrier. Essentially guaranteeing that the master of the Boogie Beat will be gracing our field once again. Oh, and with Party, those life points are going to be soaring back up. Seahorse Server gives an additional 500, and then Seahorse Carrier is going to recycle a monster. We know the remaining card in hand is a Dion Keto. And up to 2,800. Crashing into Gazelle, forcing me to trade my Dragius into Dion Keto on the next turn. However, we draw Torna, so that should be game. Let's go ahead and bring out the Torna alongside the Silent Assailant. Activate the effect. Discard a card. Swap the Dion Keto to defense mode. Activate Double Doom. And proceed to battle. Beat over the first monster. Beat Dion Keto. And then we swing in for 4,100 and claim the game. GG Shiny Lou. Alright, and I see GGGQ is awaiting, so I'll go ahead and do a round with them. And we'll see if the ultimate aggro deck makes a splash. We have 3 Yami Ruler, 3 Dragius, 2 Torna, and 2 Phoenix Dragon. This is the deck that basically just mashes every single card you can find on the limited 3 list. Oh, apparently it's not starting the duel for some reason. So I had to click cancel, and then it started. Quite an interesting little bug there. I'm up second, so let's see what GGGQ has to offer. What kind of cards will they put onto the board turn number 1? Alright, we see a Gazelle in attack mode. That's a pretty powerful card. Oh, but it gets immediately attributed off for an Answer. Fire Golem in attack mode. We might be seeing that one also get tributed. We do, and this time it is a Crawling Dragon. They pass turn, and we have a pretty powerful board to make ourselves. With Multi-Strike Dragon Dragius, we are going to be able to clear out both of the opponent's monsters. And then, 2 Gazelles offers an additional 3,000 points of damage on the opponent's life points. So that's going to be a total of over 4,000 damage. Leaving them in a pretty bad spot as early as turn number 2. With just 1,600 left, another high-level monster is likely to end the game. Alright, GGGQ passes, and that is going to be a quick end. Thank you for the game. Looks like Dragzen is up for another round, so I'll definitely go ahead and do that. Alright, up against the Mimi deck. Let's see what they bring out. They are up first, and our hand is actually looking not bad. Interested to see what Dragzen has to offer. Personally, I am hoping we draw into a tribute monster. Oh, starting with 2 attack position monsters and setting a card, presumably going to be tribute summoning in the very immediate future. Torn of the Windweaver. Still kind of odd. The Silent Assailant is, of course, not a light aqua, so we see a lone Dragius. Unfortunately, we don't draw any great outs to this. I think the best play... Oh, but that's a Fiend. If that's a Phantom Bind set, we basically just blow up. Okay, so we have to go like this. I should have tributed the Seahorse Carrier instead. But this play, we avoid the Phantom Bind, and we get to deal a little bit of damage. Getting in should be useful for later turns, especially since we already have the Seahorse Carrier set up and ready to go. Now, of course, if that face down card was not Phantom Bind, we lost out on 1,400 points of damage and a much stronger field for no real reason. So if we see them flip up a Pierce in that slot, we will be a little bit disappointed. Luckily, it looks like Dragzen also doesn't have a ton of high-level monsters, so we also get away with just taking a bit of damage here. The Gazelle does choose to attack. This plays around, of course, the Grace Princess Kana and ensures that the damage gets through. Absolutely the right play from Dragzen. Let's hope we draw some high-level monsters. And we do. Though probably a bit more than I needed. Let's go ahead and use Seahorse Carrier. Bring back Kanan the Sword Diva. Summon out Grace Princess Kana. And we're going to go for Dragius here for sure. After that, we have our Kanan the Sword Diva. And we will tribute it off for Torn of the Windweaver. As far as I'm aware, we don't have any spellcaster monsters in the graveyard. So we should be good to go. Enter the battle phase, and let's go ahead and confirm they are no. So it looks like I did make a mistake, and there are no face down Phantom Binds. Or maybe I just don't have any dragons. That is the case. So without any other dragons in the graveyard, we actually still don't have any clue what card Dragzen has set. 2 copies of Phantom Bind, both not being live, would be pretty devastating. But it's possible that these are cards like Triple Threat Thunder, which would be able to cause a huge swing here. We do see a Mystic Dealer, so it's probably not a Triple Threat Thunder deck if they are running bigger engines like Spellcasters. We see a Tribute Summon, probably for a no, it's for a Witch. Witch into Magician is going to be able to out my current board and deal a nice chunk of damage in the process. We see a discard of Harpy Lady, hitting that Wind attribute for 7-Sword Magician. And they have Dark, Wind, Light, Earth, Fire, and Water. I'm pretty sure that is all 7, so this 7-Sword Magician is going to be huge. Dion Keto the Cure Master, up for an extra 1,000. I lose my Torna, but I should be able to hang on this turn. I take a significant chunk of damage, but with 1,400 life points, that's all I'm going to need to make my comeback, hopefully. All I need to do is draw well this turn, and we can finish this game. I draw, and we draw a ton of high-level monsters. Interestingly, Dragius should be good enough. We tribute 1, and we tribute 2. Bring it out and activate the effect. We mill a Gazelle and enter the battle phase. Swing into the Witch, and now we can see if Phantom Bind would activate or not. With 900 life points left, we swing into the Kanan for 1,100. just 200 over lethal. Meaning, even if there was a Phantom Bind, we would have had exact game. Good game, Dragzen. Shiny Lou, if you would like to go for another round, let me know. Otherwise, I'll probably play another match against Dragzen. Bum bum bum. You know, I feel like I haven't done too much of the pure dragon deck, so we're going to switch back to that one. Dragonic Resonance is probably my favorite deck to play, so checking it out without a ban list is pretty fun too. Looks like Dragzen is up next. And Shiny Lou, you are correct. We do not have any divine attribute monsters in Rush Duels at the current time. So 7-Zone Magician caps at 3,900. At first, I thought Yggdrago was going to be divine, but it ended up not. I thought it would have been a pretty fitting card for it, though. Alright, looks like Dragzen is up first again. I feel like I've been going second quite a bit in the duel room today. But I don't really mind it, since it gives me that first battle phase, and with cards like Dragius, it can really set me up to get big pushes in immediately. Alright, so we see Kanan the Sword Diva coming out. But I definitely do not expect that to be here at the end of the turn, at least not in attack mode. We see a tribute set. Cards like Torna and others only have I don't know why, but sometimes when I'm speaking, my brain just completely shuts off, so I completely lost the train of thought. Oh, Gravity Press Dragon and friends only have 1,000 points of defense, so we should be able to clear whatever card they have set here. We can use the Dragonic Resonance to get in for some extra damage. And even with Phantom Bind, this Dragius is guaranteed to be clearing whatever card is being set. We swing in again, and we deal a quick 4,500. Absolutely insane damage from the very aggressive dragons. Unfortunately, boards where you just end on one monster are very, very dangerous, which is why I'm an advocate of not running very many spells and traps. Unless it's Dragonic Pressure, I don't think the cards are worth it. The amount of times you win a game via a card like Phantom Bind are going to be outweighed by the times you lose because you had a Phantom Bind instead of a low-level monster. Apart from Dragonic Pressure, of course, Triple Threat Thunder is another reasonable card to include, as it can be representative of up to 3,900 damage. 7-Zone Magician coming out and is able to clear the Dragius. However, unless another big monster comes out capable of beating the Gravity Press Dragon, we are going to have an inbuilt out, or a built-in out on the board. We see it shuffling away the Seahorse Carrier to get access to that 4th Seahorse Carrier in the deck and gain 1,000 life points. Let's see if it makes a difference in this duel. 7-Zone Magician swinging in for just 500 damage, and now it's my move. I draw for turn, and this is looking like a pretty good hand. With Triad Drago and Winged Dragon, I am able to draw an additional card. Then I can bring out the Multi-Strike Dragon Dragius. And then Twin Edge Dragon for even more security. Activate the effect. We are going to ditch the Bunker Strike for that double attack. And then Gravity Press, ditching the Sports Dragon Slugger to weaken the 7-Zone Magician. Activate Dragonic Resonance, just so we have maximum security against any pesky Phantom Binds. Head into battle and swing with Dragius. Do one more swing with the Twin Edge Dragon. And that is game And we even have 4,000, 5,000, and exactly 6,000 points of damage worth of direct attacks. Even if Dragzen was at full HP, the Dragonic Resonance deck was going to OTK it. Thank you for the game, Dragzen. I'll do one more against GGGQ since it has been a while. But I know GGGQ is on kind of beginner decks, so I will use a beginner deck myself. We're gonna go with Yuga's starter. Hopefully it'll be a bit more of a fair battle this way. Oh, that seems a little too weak though. Hopefully we find the Torna or the Sevens Road. We'll see if we're able to pull it out. After this, it's been about an hour and a half, so I think everyone here has gotten to do some good no banlist duels if they were looking for it. Anyone who's joined recently, feel free to hop into the duel room. Room ID is up above my head. But if no one else joins after this next game or two, we are probably going to call it a day soon. Don't want to tire people out from too many rush duels. We get the Rush on Sevens Road skill, and I am up first. Let's draw a card, and we are going to just set. We definitely want to keep our boss monster available for later. We have very limited tribute monsters in these decks, so it's important that we don't foolishly waste our tributes when they are some of our only outs to the Sevens Road Magician. We see a Trick Pigeon coming out and a red medicine to regain some life points. Welcome, Mikan. Konnichiwa. Genki ka? Alright, so we see a crawling dragon. So we aren't actually able to out both of these, but I think we do need to do our best. So we are going to bring out the Max Raider here. And then set this one and this one to get us more draws into the deck. Battle phase, and we'll take out the crawling dragon to deal extra damage. Alright, so what does GGGQ want to bring out? Alright, Innocent Lancer, Konsu, oh, nope, just immediately tributes it as well. Ansler is not able to beat Max Raider. So it's our turn again, and we draw into a crawling dragon. Definitely going to bring it out. And swing in for as much damage as we can. Swing with the Max Raider, and then get 3,000. Alright, GGGQ is down to, oh, Advanced Burst Draw coming out. So this is the skill that adds Blue Eyes White Dragon, but it can also be used earlier to get any level 7 monster. Unfortunately, it looks like this is going to be the end of the game. I have Sparks, and we can swing in. Thank you for the game, GGGQ. Yeah, sure. I will do one more rematch with GGGQ with the beginner decks. Yeah, that last turn, you must have drawn a lot of high-level monsters, I noticed. We are definitely going to be just setting our weaker monsters here. And ending turn. Alright, so we see a lesser dragon. 1200 is enough to beat all of our monsters. We didn't draw any Doriado. Oh, and Curse of Dragon coming out. 5-star monster, 2000 attack. Pretty powerful. Let's see if we manage to draw any high levels ourselves. We do. With Max Raider, we are going to be able to push for some big damage. Let's go ahead, bring out Max Raider, and then tribute the Mammoth Graveyard for a Crawling Dragon. Finally, the Water Magician is going to be an additional 1400. Senropyaku. Alright, turn end. Yuga battle. Atashi mo suki desu. Alright, so they brought out two 1500 attack point monsters. Alright, so Exo Wonder Splat 1600 is going to be able to use its ability to beat the Crawling Dragon. However, Max Raider still seems relatively safe at 2400. Oh, it doesn't use the effect, causing a trade. That seems like something may have gone wrong. Oh, and we find the Seven's Road Magician. So we are going to be able to close out this game. Seven's Road Magician gets tribute summoned. And then Doriado, and tribute it off for Torn of the Windweaver to get that extra Earth attribute monster in grave. Elemento Roro. And battle. Alright, and GG to GGGQ. And then anyone else? I'll do one more game against Dragzen. And then we are going to call it a day. Unless anyone else joins in. I'm down to play some more. But I think we've all played a good amount of duels so far. Alright, so final game against Dragzen. Here we go. Good luck and have fun. Bum, bum, bum. Alright, so, 先行か、じゃあ、モンスター3体伏せる。 連撃竜ドラギアスアドバンス召喚ターンエンドパンパンパンパンパッパッパラパッパッパンパッパンパッパッパラパラパラパン. Alright, so we see an immediate Sports Dragon picture. This is a little bit troubling because it means that there is almost certainly a Bunker Strike or a Slayer coming out. We see Triad Drago. That is not the card I would have expected them to send to the graveyard. I feel like Dragzen missed out on a free draw here. Of course, I am still taking a ton of damage, so it's not like they made any huge, horrible mistakes. Ja, Atashi no tan, どうしよう。はい。アドバンス召喚。モンスター効果発動。パンパッパッパン。Yeah, I think these are cards I want on the top of my deck. 1, 2, set, skill, 発動。伏せる。攻撃。Alright, and now it's time for Dragzen. Alright, oh, Twin Edge going to defense mode means Dragzen probably drew exclusively low-level monsters. This could be a big chance for me to turn this game around. 2 set cards is kind of an issue, because if those are both Dragonic Pressures, we are in a ton of danger. So what do? We could activate Dragonic Pressure here and swing in for a bunch of damage. However, that isn't lethal, so I don't think it's the right play. Instead, we are just going to bring out a Bunker Strike, and I think we are digging for Twin Edge Dragon to try and hit as many times as possible. We do not find it, so let's just go ahead and bring these monsters back on top of deck. 1, 2, 3, Phoenix Dragon, and then we can bring out the Dragius, and activate the effect. We send a monster to the graveyard. Battle. And I guess I probably should have actually used the Dragonic Pressure. Because now we don't deal any damage, and I needed to get damage in to get them to the point where Dragonic Pressure would have KO'd. Dragonic Pressure can only deal up to 4,800, so it's not quite enough to end the game. Whereas I am in the lethal zone. Sports Dragon Slugger, activating the effect. Looks like they aren't going for Dragonic Pressure play, which is interesting. I wonder what else it could be. So we see the two monsters and Gravity Pest Dragon coming out next. Oh. Alright, and we see they went for the Bunker Strike. That is not the one I would have expected them to weaken. Especially with the Dragius. Something is off here. Dragius absolutely could have destroyed both monsters, but now it's forced to crash, which is great for us. This is our chance to make another comeback. Of course, 1300, we need to win on this turn, or it's over. Another Dragonic Pressure is not what we wanted to see. Let's see, so I ditched 3. It would be the same result either way. So, yeah, there's no big difference here, so we are just going to go for it. Use Dragius. Activate the effect, and swing. We get in for damage, but this is almost certainly going to be the end of it. With only 1300 life points, any draws from a Dragonic Pressure are going to be enough to win this game. And here it comes. Alright, nice work, Dragzen. You have got this one in the bag. Alright, Slugger comes out. And then Slugger, Yomigaeru. And here comes this Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress. Wait. If you don't have a level 7, okay. I thought Dragzen may have made a mistake, but they do indeed get there. If it was another low-level monster in hand, Winged Dragon would not have been able to attack. But that is game. Nice job claiming a victory. Alright, so I think that is probably going to be it for today. So thank you everyone who came out. We will be streaming some more. Hopefully in the near future. I'm excited for the Roa event, and I'll definitely be doing the Goha Rush Festival whenever that starts. Before we head out, let's see if there is anyone on Twitch to raid. Give me one moment as we finish things off. So let's go to Duel Links. And then anyone playing a Rush Duel. Looks like speed, 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 and no English Rush players.